Welcome back to the channel. My name is Thomas Fletcher and I'm the host of the LCSW Network. If you're new to the channel, please do me a favor by smashing that like button, by subscribing to the channel, and by sharing this video with your social work colleagues and friends. The purpose of this channel is to create a community of hope and support where social workers can come for relevant news, information, and inspiration. Welcome back to Self-Care Saturday. Welcome back to week 51 of our 2021 Wellness Challenge series. We are quickly approaching the end of 2021. How are you all doing? I hope that you've been able to adopt some of the self-care tools that we've talked about during the past 50 weeks. If you're new to this channel, please go back to week 1 of the 2021 Wellness Challenge series and watch all of the videos from the past year. In today's episode, we will be discussing the recovery model developed by the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, otherwise known as SAMHSA, as a model for professional self-care. So let's start with a story. Back in 2015, one of my bosses asked me to talk with a team of social workers and peer support staff that was experiencing some interpersonal or communication issues. I used this opportunity to launch a series of training on the SAMHSA recovery model. My focus was twofold. The primary focus was to provide education to the staff about the importance of providing recovery-oriented care for the benefits of our clients living with serious mental illnesses, for example, those living with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as co-occurring substance use disorders. The secondary focus that I had was to educate the staff about how important and instrumental the recovery model is for the self-care and well-being of the staff. So the primary focus is in alignment with why SAMHSA developed the recovery model and why the VA subsequently adopted it. The secondary focus, which is what I distilled from the recovery model, gives the staff a personal incentive for adopting and practicing a recovery-oriented approach to care because it leverages their own interest to intentionally practice self-care while they are working with their clients. So let's discuss the SAMHSA recovery model. The SAMHSA recovery model consists of a working definition of recovery, 4 definitions that support a life in recovery, and 10 guiding principles of recovery. So the working definition of recovery is, it's a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential. SAMHSA recognizes 4 major dimensions that support a life in recovery. The first dimension is health, overcoming or managing one's diseases or symptoms. The second dimension is home, a stable and safe place to live. Third dimension is purpose, meaningful daily activities such as a job, school, volunteering, caregiving, or creative endeavors. And the fourth dimension is community, relationships and social networks that provide support, friendship, love, and hope. So let's talk about the 10 guiding principles of recovery. First one is recovery emerges from hope. The second one is recovery is person-driven. The third one is recovery occurs via many pathways. The fourth guiding principle is recovery is holistic. Number 5, recovery is supported by peers and allies. Number 6, recovery is supported through relationships and social networks. Number 7, recovery is culturally based and influenced. Number 8, recovery is supported by addressing trauma. Number 9, recovery is based on strengths and responsibilities of the individual, family, and community. And number 10, recovery is based on respect. So here's how I facilitated the staff trainings. First, I present the information provided by SAMHSA for each principle. Secondly, I ask open-ended questions to staff about how they can provide recovery-oriented care for their clients that addresses each of the guiding principles. Lastly, I ask open-ended questions about how they can apply each of the guiding principles in the service of their own self-care and wellness. So let's review what SAMHSA says about the 10 guiding principles of recovery so that we can learn how to apply these principles towards our own self-care and wellness. Let's start with the first one, hope. So SAMHSA defines hope as the belief that recovery is real, provides the essential and motivating message of a better future, that people can and do overcome the internal and external challenges, barriers, and obstacles that confront them. Hope is internalized and can be fostered by peers, families, providers, allies, and others. Hope is the catalyst of the recovery process. The second guiding principle is person-driven. SAMHSA defines person-driven as self-determination and self-direction are the foundations for recovery, as individuals define their own life goals and design their unique paths towards those goals. Individuals optimize their autonomy and independence to the greatest extent possible by leading, controlling, and exercising choice over the services and supports that assist their recovery and resilience. In doing so, they are empowered and provided the resources to make informed decisions, initiate recovery, build on their strengths, and gain or regain control over their lives. The next guiding principle that SAMHSA defines is multiple pathways. So multiple pathways is defined as individuals are unique with distinct needs, strengths, preferences, goals, culture, and backgrounds, including trauma experience that affect and determine their pathways to recovery. Recovery is built on the multiple capacities, strengths, talents, coping abilities, resources, and inherent value of each individual. Recovery pathways are highly personalized. They may include professional, clinical treatment, use of medications, support from families and in schools, faith-based approaches, peer support, and other approaches. Recovery is non-linear, characterized by continual growth and improved functioning that may involve setbacks. Because setbacks are a natural, though not inevitable part of the recovery process, it is essential to foster resilience for all individuals and families. Abstinence from the use of alcohol, illicit drugs, and non-prescribed medications is the goal for those with addictions. Use of tobacco and non-prescribed or illicit drugs is not safe for anyone. In some cases, recovery pathways can be enabled by creating a supportive environment. This is especially true for children who may not have the legal or developmental capacity to set their own course. The next guiding principle that SAMHSA defines is holistic. Holistic is defined by SAMHSA as recovery encompasses an individual's whole life, including mind, body, spirit, and community. This includes addressing self-care practices, family, housing, employment, transportation, education, clinical treatment for mental disorders and substance use disorders, services and supports, primary health care, dental care, complementary and alternative services, faith, spirituality, creativity, social networks, and community participation. The array of services and supports available should be integrated and coordinated. The next guiding principle defined by SAMHSA is peers and allies. Mutual support and mutual aid groups, including the sharing of experiential knowledge and skills, as well as social learning, play an invaluable role in recovery. Peers encourage and engage other peers and provide each other with a vital sense of belonging, supportive relationships, valued roles, and community. Through helping others and giving back to the community, one helps oneself. Peer-operated supports and services provide important resources to assist people along their journeys of recovery and wellness. Professionals can also play an important role in the recovery process by providing clinical treatment and other services that support individuals in their chosen recovery paths. While peers and allies play an important role for many in recovery, their role for children and youth may be slightly different. Peer support for families is very important for children with behavioral health problems and can also play a supportive role for youth in recovery. The next guiding principle that SAMHSA talks about is relationships and networks. An important factor in the recovery process is the presence and involvement of people who believe in the person's ability to recover, who offer hope, support, and encouragement, and who also suggest strategies and resources for change. Family members, peers, providers, faith groups, community members, and other allies form vital support networks. Through these relationships, people leave unhealthy and or unfulfilling life roles behind and engage in new roles such as partner, caregiver, friend, student, employee that lead to a greater sense of belonging, personhood, empowerment, autonomy, social inclusion, and community participation. The next guiding principle that SAMHSA defines is culture. Culture and cultural background in all of its diverse representations, including values, traditions, and beliefs, are keys in determining a person's journey and unique pathway to recovery. Services should be culturally grounded, attuned, sensitive, congruent, and competent, as well as personalized to meet each individual's unique needs. The next guiding principle defined by SAMHSA is trauma. The experience of trauma such as physical or sexual abuse, domestic violence, war, disaster, and others is often a precursor to or associated with alcohol and drug use, mental health problems, and related issues. Services and supports should be trauma-informed to foster both physical and emotional safety as well as trust, as well as promote choice, empowerment, and collaboration. The next guiding principle defined by SAMHSA is strengths and responsibilities. Individuals, families, and communities have strengths and resources that serve as a foundation for recovery. In addition, individuals have a personal responsibility for their own self-care and journeys of recovery. Individuals should be supported in speaking for themselves. Families and significant others have responsibilities to support their loved ones, especially for children and youth in recovery. Communities have responsibilities to provide opportunities and resources to address discrimination and to foster social inclusion and recovery. Individuals in recovery also have a social responsibility and should have the ability to join with peers to speak collectively about their strengths, needs, wants, desires, and aspirations. The last guiding principle of recovery that is defined by SAMHSA is respect. Community, systems, and societal acceptance and appreciation for people affected by mental health and substance use problems, including protecting their rights and eliminating discrimination, are crucial in achieving recovery. There is a need to acknowledge that taking steps towards recovery may require great courage. Self-acceptance, developing a positive and meaningful sense of identity, and regaining belief in oneself are particularly important. So now that we've reviewed how SAMHSA defines the 10 guiding principles of recovery, let's discuss how we can apply these principles for self-care and wellness of licensed mental health professionals, including LCSWs. So for the principle of hope, my question for you is, What self-care activities are you doing in your daily life to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild your own hope? Question number 2. For the principle of person-driven, what self-care activities are you practicing in your daily life to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild your sense of direction of where your life is going or where you are going in your life? For the principle of multiple pathways, my question for you is, what are the multiple self-care activities, coping strategies, and or wellness tools you are engaging in to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild your own sense of well-being? For the principle of holistic, my question for you all is, are you engaging in self-care activities that support an optimal balance of mind, body, spirit, and community well-being? For the principle of peers and allies, my question for you is, what self-care activities are you doing in your daily life to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild a strong peer support network? For the principle of relationships, my question for you is, what self-care activities are you doing in your daily life to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild your personal relationships? For the principle of culture, my question for you is, what self-care activities are you doing in your daily life that are in alignment with your values, beliefs, ethics, and traditions? For the principle of trauma, my question for you is, what self-care activities are you doing in your daily life to either prevent, decrease, or process the effects of both personal traumas as well as vicarious or secondary job-related traumatization? For the principle of strengths and responsibilities, my question for you is, what self-care activities are you doing in your daily life to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild your individual, family, and community strengths and responsibilities? For the principle of respect, my question for you is, what self-care activities are you doing in your daily life to promote, increase, sustain, or rebuild your own sense of self and self-respect? So now that we've discussed the SAMHSA recovery model and reviewed the working definition, the 4 major dimensions, and the 10 guiding principles, let's start using these concepts to support our own self-care and well-being. Can you think of any activities that you are doing or may want to begin doing that address these principles? If you don't have any activities in your daily life that address these principles, I would invite you to watch all of the videos from the 2021 Wellness Challenge series, as well as videos from the 2020 Self-Care Saturday series for more ideas. Let's see how many of us can actually use the SAMHSA recovery model, not only for providing recovery-oriented care to our clients, but also to support our own self-care and wellness. All right, I want to thank you all for watching this video. To all the social workers and licensed mental health professionals, thank you for the work that you do every day, for your clients, for your agency, and for the profession. Please continue to support each other and yourselves. Bye for now.